So today, Gary Black, who provides an incredibly useful insight into how many traditional investors think, posted this. FSD 13.2 is still nowhere near close to being unsupervised, which would be 99.99% efficacy, which would be one intervention per year, which I think Gary means about roughly one intervention per 10,000 miles driven, which is how often you'd be at one intervention per year based on the average person who drives about 10,000 miles a year. Look at the latest FSD 13.2 tracker data on TSLA Now, for those of you that don't know, this is a little community project which includes user-submitted data manually, and there's also a device you can put in your Tesla vehicle, but the method for measurement, this may provide something slightly, possibly a little bit beyond completely useless, but I wouldn't look into this too much. It's a small sample size. The method for reporting and what an intervention is murky. There's no standardized system, But I just want to reiterate, instead of relying on a third-party community project, wouldn't it make a little bit more sense to perhaps use the product yourself or just watch videos of the software operating? It's obviously not ready yet for Robotaxis, otherwise Tesla would have asked for regulatory approval. But thank you, Gary, again for the incredible insight into how many traditional investors think about Tesla, specifically FSD. Wanted to look at a few other replies here. Gary, don't look at the tracker data. It's not accurate. Use the software and judge for yourself. Now, that's an incredibly smart idea. Why didn't I think of that? Oh, wait, I did. I don't understand the desire for people to go to a third party when they could literally just use a product themselves and make a judgment based on their own actual direct experience as opposed to something that's indirect. But of course, Gary has a response to this. We need independent data from Tesla. Well, we don't have it. Without it, there's too much emotion. Sam writes, that tracker data is undersampled garbage with a strong selection bias. Gary responds, hilarious that Uber bulls talk trash about the FSD tracker data when Tesla refuses to publish intervention data. You can't have it both ways. Well, hang on a minute. You know what's even more useful than Tesla publishing intervention data, which itself, how do you standardize that? Because keep in mind, right, when people are supervising FSD, there are many interventions, I would say the vast majority actually, where the user of the vehicle isn't certain what the car's going to do, FSD is going to do, so they intervene preemptively when they probably didn't need to. So there's no standard way of measuring this stuff. You understand, right? It'd be completely fucking useless. So why would Tesla publish this? So you know what's even more useful than Tesla publishing intervention data? Tesla releasing the fucking product so you as a customer can actually use the actual product and actually experience the actual thing instead of having to go to a third party or outsource your thinking. Bro, call me crazy, but rather than wishing Tesla would publish data, which you can't standardize. Again, if people intervene, how do you normalize for the fact that people are a little bit more cautious? You can't. Instead of that, just use the fucking product, bro. Farzad asks, have you tried V13? Another one here from Fred says, there are a zillion reasons people disengage. Crazy to go by that. Also true. Another one here from Eddie. The FSD tracker doesn't accurately reflect current FSD capabilities. It primarily represents older versions based on feedback from a limited group of users. It's like judging ChatGPT 4 based on the performance of version 2. I wanted to feature this particular post from Jeff Lutz. By the way, the dude has a massive brain. If you're curious, check out the recent conversation he had with Gary Black and Dan Ives on Brighter with Herbert. Great conversation, very insightful. So, Jeff reminding Gary about some of the things they specifically discussed during that very conversation, which again, it's extremely illuminating. And it was very obvious that the biggest brain in the room by far was Jeff's. 1, we talked about a standard for the data. There isn't one. 2, we talked about comparing them being apples and oranges as one has a driver in the seat and the other doesn't, e.g. companies like Waymo, quote unquote, publishing their interventions per mile, which again is extremely misleading because as far as I'm aware, Waymo has multiple levels here and they don't count when the vehicle sends a request, hey, what should I do in this situation? Option A or option B, e.g. stay in this lane or move to this lane, pull over here or go here. Those don't count as interventions. So again, and as Jeff points out, back to point 1, there is no standard. And 99.99% of people would misinterpret the data as a result. 3, I've explained from a fleet management perspective that no company is making decisions off FSD tracker, nor should they. They have data of millions of cars and billions of miles. 4, no authority is saying that FSD version 13.2 is Robotaxi ready, including Tesla. This also is important. And finally, 5, I recommend listening to the company, following up on the concept of scaling laws, and use the product yourself to pressure test for relative improvement. I'm surprised anyone is pointing people to FSD tracker when you don't know the inputs, measurement system consistency, and statistical significance of what's posted. Totally agree here, bro. I mean, fucking hell. If I didn't know any better, I'd almost sense a desperation to find something to grasp onto for a false sense of security about the progress of FSD, and anything will do. Oh, wait, there's a community tracker with a tiny bit of data on older versions. Oh, yeah, that'll great. I'll rely on that. Just use the product, or at least watch videos. So apparently FSD is nowhere near Robotaxi ready. And hey, maybe he's right. That's not what the data's telling me. And when I say data, I mean actual videos of the actual software actually operating, as opposed to a community FSD tracker project, which I guess would mean, for now at least, Tesla is still just a car company. So let's watch this short clip from everybody's favorite Steve Wesley, who, if I didn't know any better, really does not like talking about autonomy, but loves talking about electric vehicles when it comes to Tesla. I mean, it's not like Steve's investment firm has a big slice of a LiDAR company and is... I don't even know why I said that thing, because anyway, let's move on.
Tesla stock, the top performer on the S&P 500 today, and it's up more than 80% since the election just 6 weeks ago. But will that run last? Let's bring in Steve Wesley, founder and managing partner of the Wesley Group and a Tesla board member. Steve, thank you so much for being here.
Ex-Tesla board member, just to be clear, they did not part on good terms. Many of you will be unaware, but Elon Musk actually commented on a video I'd posted on X to my subscribers featuring Steve, with something along the lines of Steve was removed from the Tesla board for weaselly behavior. I don't know the exact quote, but some of my subscribers will remember that, right? So obviously it wasn't a public post from Musk, but I'm just putting that out there. Not that he'd hold a grudge against Tesla. I'm just saying he's not currently on the board, and apparently he's definitely never going to be back on Tesla's board either.
How much of this excitement do you think will actually turn into upside for Tesla? And where do you see the catalysts that really play into this stock price movement in 2025?
Well, look, 80% increase in share price just since the November election, that's nosebleeding territory. And the surge doesn't appear to be based on fundamentals or new profits. So I think 2025 is really going to be a big...
Going to go out on a limb here and suggest Steve was probably implying that an 80% increase in Tesla's valuation, forget about the fact that it had collapsed about the same amount previously, not being based on, quote, fundamentals, possibly not being based on the fundamentals of a car company. What if Tesla's not just a car company?
Year for Tesla, make or break. Here's what investors ought to be looking for. I think you're going to see auto sales. Last year, Tesla, 1.8 million units. I think this year it's going to be about the same. That's flat growth. That doesn't really justify this big uptick. The real question is, how quickly can Tesla get this subcompact, sub-$30,000 Model Q into the market? I think that's going to be decisive.
You know what's great? The rumours, and they are at this point still just rumours, that Tesla would actually call a more affordable mass market vehicle a Tesla Q. I explicitly proposed this idea to Tesla years ago, and it wasn't the only one, I'm sure. The reasoning here is that that would be the vehicle that literally destroyed Tesla Q once and for all. So how hilarious would it be to actually name the vehicle the Q? But this still is, at this point, an unconfirmed rumour. But make no mistake, Tesla did tell us more affordable vehicles, implementing some of the learnings from their modular manufacturing system, which will be featured entirely on their production systems for the Cybercab. But some of those learnings are going to be implemented on a range of more affordable vehicles, plural. More than one. Now, my best guess here, it's actually pretty obvious. They're probably just going to be watered down Model 3s and Model Ys. Strip out some of the features and also do some innovation in terms of the manufacturing processes. And this is an obvious thing to see coming. The actual features available in the Model 3 and Model Y have incrementally improved and compounded over the years. Model 3's refresh recently turned it into an ultra premium vehicle. And ventilated heated seats, all kinds of fancy shit you wouldn't expect in a mass market vehicle. I even pointed out at the time, Tesla could delete the Model S and X. They won't, probably won't, but could, because the 3 is now basically not that far off a Model S. You have the rear screens, all that kind of shit as well. And by the way, that still could happen. I don't know if it will, but they could. It wouldn't make much of a difference. So you can already strip out some of those super premium features and bring the cost down. In addition, if you implement some of the manufacturing processes from the modular manufacturing system, the costs are going to come down even more. So my best guess is we're just going to see a watered down Model 3 and Model Y. I don't know what they'll be called. Maybe there's one, maybe there's variations, I don't know. But Tesla told us these things are entering production in the first half of next year, and they'll be able to get to about 3 million units of vehicle production per year without needing to build new facilities to produce these. They've got enough factory footprint already globally to add another, call it 1.2 million in combined production for these things. However, The vehicle business is about to become an irrelevant sideshow. The robotaxis are just around the corner.
Steve, it's Dom. One of the big dynamics developing right now is not just in terms of Tesla's market position with other EV company competitors. It is also about the competitive advantage of the U.S. versus China, the two biggest EV markets out there and producers right now. The policies that you anticipate coming out of the Trump administration, do you think it will be net beneficial not just for Tesla, but for the U.S. auto and EV industry when it comes to competing with the likes of China?
Yeah, so look, I think investors ought to be worried about that. Here's the reality. The whole world is going electric. China is the world's largest auto market, almost twice the size of the U.S.
True, the whole world is going electric and much faster than people realise. And China is not only the world's largest but most important vehicle market. So a very strong signal for future dominance would be a company that is producing compelling electric vehicles in China at massive scale, on the order of, let's say, about 1 million a year, maybe even more. And I don't mean doing in the future, I mean already doing now. That'd be a great thing to do, to position yourself to have a factory, a wholly owned factory in the world's biggest and most important vehicle market. It's a shame Tesla didn't think to build a factory in Shanghai back... Oh, wait, no, they did. Okay, moving on.
They import virtually no cars to the U.S., so slapping tariffs on them doesn't really have a big impact. But if we do that and China responds in kind, that could be really a huge problem for U.S. automakers who need to sell cars into China. But the reality is the entire world is going electric. 7 of the 10 largest EV makers in the world are China-based. The U.S. needs to up its game, and I think the U.S. would be wise to make it easier to sell cars in the U.S. This is probably not the smartest time to take away that $7,500 rebate.
Now, I've got a crazy idea. It's essentially 2025 now, not 2012. There are companies today producing extremely compelling electric vehicles that you can purchase in the United States today for less than the average new vehicle costs in the United States today, before any tax credits or incentives. In fact, the best vehicle on earth, as measured by the most units sold, is Tesla's Model Y. You can literally buy a Model Y today in the US for less than the average new vehicle price in the US. So why in the flying fuck would it make any sense for the government to be pissing away $7,500 per tax credit per electric vehicle to what? To incentivize people to buy them? You don't need to make them more affordable. You don't need to. Now, obviously, Model Y is not within reach of everyone, but Tesla's more affordable vehicles are coming soon. There's no longer any reason to be incentivizing the purchase of electric vehicles in the US. The costs keep coming down, and the best vehicle on earth is already available for less than the average US vehicle purchase. Total waste of money, unless it's actually a way to help inept companies who are doomed anyway and deserve everything they're going to get, to help them survive a few quarters longer before they go bankrupt anyway after getting massively disrupted. As I've said before, electric vehicles are commercially inevitable. The costs keep coming down. They're already compelling. Not everyone can afford them, but as more people can afford them, more people buy them. They're a no-brainer. You don't need to incentivize people to buy electric vehicles anymore. There was a time when it made sense because they're astronomically expensive to produce. But we're beyond that point. The government should stay the fuck out of it. Let the market sort itself out, because it will. Consumer preferences are shifting, and as electric vehicles become even more affordable, more consumers can afford them, more consumers buy them. You don't need to incentivize people because they're going to get better and cheaper. I mean, hello. Of course, if you're not Tesla, then you're probably desperately going to want the EV tax credit to stay. Not because it helps electric vehicle adoption, but because it's going to help you survive a few more quarters before you inevitably go bankrupt anyway.
It certainly helps, of course, to have Musk in President-elect Trump's ear. But I'm curious if you're worried at all about a reputational issue, or if there's an Icarus situation where Musk has kind of garnered all this power, but then somehow there's a souring or falling out.
Oh my fucking God. The whole fucking media, even the finance media, even CNBC are on this bandwagon now. These silly fucks are trying to drive a wedge between Trump and Musk. It's not going to work. There's a video by Patrick Bet-David, PBD, shout out to him. He literally, I was saying this is going to happen. He said it's going to happen. He's on a video. He explained the whole thing. This is what's, he called it to a T. It's so obvious. This is ridiculous, bro. There's going to be no falling out. This is so stupid to even suggest unless you don't understand the character of either Trump or Musk. Musk is there to help. He's not there for his self-interest or personal gain. Trump recognizes that Musk has a massive brain, an incredible track record, and is actively working with him to, wait for it, make America great again. The two are completely aligned in their mission of making America great again. There's going to be no falling out. The two respect one another. Musk respecting Trump in particular for his courage under fire, his willingness to stand up against the hate stream media, the political left, the woke mind virus. The guy's clearly trying to do good. Musk is clearly trying to do good. I mean, this is so ridiculous. It's a nice narrative to conjure up. It's not going to happen. It's so stupid. Who gives these morons their talking points, by the way? Is there like some secret ministry of dumb shit we're going to talk about this week in the media where they all just convene and go, okay, here's the bullet points to talk about this week? Because they all say the same shit out of nowhere. In unison. It's crazy. By the way, PS are safe and effective for your protection on their quarterly profits. What?
Of their relationship if things could work in an adverse way for Tesla.
That could certainly happen. I mean, look, you've got two very strong personalities here. They seem to be best bros now. We'll see how long that continues. But I think the reality is Mr. Trump said he did not like EVs up until literally a few months ago. Now he loves them. Could that change back? I think it absolutely could. But the reality is...
Now, I just want to correct the record here. Trump's never said he doesn't like electric vehicles. He's certainly roasted them and trolled them, saying, you know, if you want to go on a road trip, you've got to charge 600,000 times when he was pandering to audiences in fossil fuel-based economies. But he's always said people should have freedom of choice. That's his broad point, freedom of choice. And I completely agree with this. But people always like to twist this like he hates electric vehicles. He doesn't. He hates people being forced to make a certain purchase. He hates people not having freedom of choice. He's got no problem with electric vehicles. He's got a problem with insane mandates to take away consumers' freedom of choice. Now think about this. From his perspective, he probably doesn't know a huge amount about the cost declining over time. He's thinking these things are like $60,000, $100,000 a pop. How can you force people to spend that much money? Some people can't afford that. He's kind of got a point. Another reason why these mandates are completely insane. Anyway, back to the clip.
People are buying more EVs all the time. And the reason is battery costs are going down. The U.S. needs to realize where the global auto market is going. We need to be encouraging not just Tesla, but General Motors and Ford to follow along. We need to sell more EVs in the U.S. as well as abroad. That's the way to win the auto wars.
So those legacy companies are fucked and they did it to themselves. Ford's slightly less fucked than GM, but they're both fucked and they did it to themselves. I mean, Ford are at least trying. Shout out to Jim Farley. GM just absolutely brain dead. But they're toast regardless. These companies should themselves have been shifting towards electric vehicles 15 years ago at lightning speed, but they didn't. So it's their fault. You cannot reward ineptitude and incompetence by trying to save these companies to help them out. It just creates perverse incentives. Oh, well, we can fuck everything up anyway because worst comes to worst. You know, the government will just bail us out if we go bankrupt, so everything's fine. As I've said, the future of the automotive industry, like units produced, revenue, miles traveled in their vehicles, who fucking cares? Same shit. Number 1, Tesla. Number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, almost exclusively Chinese companies. Nothing that the government does between now and then is going to change that inevitable outcome. Legacy auto companies are fucked. It's their fault. They fucked around for the last 15 years, and now they're going to find out. Want more content? Early access? A bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 is awesome. I've been taking it daily now for more than 3 years. It's a great way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's packed full of vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients. Plus, has prebiotics, probiotics, and adaptogens to improve gut health, regularity, and help your body handle stress. I'm always looking for an edge to help me feel and perform my best, which is why I haven't missed a day of AG1 for more than 3 years. Just try it and see how you feel. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs. This is what viewers of the channel had to say after trying AG1. I feel like I have a lot more energy since I started on AG1. Just got my AG1 in the mail, legit feeling the effects after day 3. 3 months ago, I started AG1 and have been enjoying the evenness of alertness and energy that lasts the day. I just started the wife on it too. Are you convinced yet? I mean, hey, it's worth trying, right? Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR or I can keep going. This viewer, after about a month on AG1, definitely a lack of fatigue in the afternoon. Pleasant side effect is that my coffee intake has imploded and is almost down to 0. One more? Yeah, why not? I honestly feel younger and will be continuing to use AG1. This stuff really is crazy good. I didn't think it would be, but this stuff is awesome. It really is what everyone is saying. One more? Don't mind if I do. I've just received my 3rd month supply. I've drank it every day. I have so much energy throughout most of the day. I'm productive, started a new business, started socializing, refurbished a boat. It's no coincidence. Thank you for your persistence, your integrity, and your insights. Now look, these are not my words. These are not my testimonials. This is what you guys and girls are saying. Maybe it's 100% placebo effect. But even if that's the case, I think it's money well spent. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs.